Hey, my veterans out there, how you doing this evening? We got a good show for you tonight. It's gonna be a lot of information. Um, I'm still loading up some slides here, so just give me a moment. And have you ever thought about needing a service dog? That's what tonight's show's all about. Um, we're gonna go over a program that the VA has, and a lot of good information here. So let me just finish loading these up and we'll get started here. All right, looks like we got everything ready now. So let's get started. All right, like I said, this show's about a program that the VA has about service dogs. So not only can you get a service dog for mobility purposes, such as like epilepsy, if you have uh, sugar problems, stuff like that, and the VA can also help you obtain a service dog if you suffer from PTSD. Now, the VA did a study on PTSD and service dogs, and it was authorized by Congress. And it was to determine if service dogs can help veterans with PTSD. Now, the objective was to determine if people with PTSD, veterans with PTSD, would benefit from having a service dog. And the results were actually pretty cool. Now, what they did was they took 100 veterans, I think it was 190, in between 95 and 100 veterans that had PTSD. All of them got paired up with either a service dog or an emotional support dog. And we'll get between, we'll determine what the two are here in a little bit. Some got to keep the dogs after they were done with the training, and some at the end of the training, the dogs were taken away from them. Now, they did not see an overall improvement with veterans with PTSD with the provision of a service dog. But what they did find was the service dog helped suicidal tendencies or ideations and behaviors seem to have dropped. So that was a good thing. But exactly what is a service dog? Now, service dogs are guide or service dogs prescribed for a disabled veteran under 38 CFR 17.148 for the purpose of the veteran being diagnosed as having a visual, hearing, or substantial mobility impairment. That did not include PTSD in that until recently. Um, but the difference between a service dog and an emotional dog is a service dog is allowed everywhere you go. Emotional support dogs are not. Um, Service dogs can fly on airplanes. They're starting to shy away from allowing emotional support dogs to fly. Um, so that's pretty much the same difference. Service dogs are trained to handle multiple conditions. So, and they're definitely being trained to handle PTSD situations as well. Now, one of the things that's come out of this study is if you are able to get a service dog through the VA, your service dog receives insurance benefits. And what that covers is health insurance for the dog. Now, there are a few things that they will not cover with this insurance, but it's a commercial insurance policy for your dog. It's not a VA insurance policy, it's a commercial policy, but the VA pays for it. You don't have to pay a dime. Now, the dog has to be certified through um, an accredited Assistance Dogs International or the International Guide Dog Federation, or both. Don't know how you get them for both, but now what will happen is, well, first off, let's one thing we do need to get straight first is the VA does not supply the dog itself. All right. So this is how you get that certified dog. Once you apply for the dog, well, let's continue on with this. How can you apply for VA veterinary health benefits? The veteran should meet with their VA clinical care provider or your primary care provider to begin the application process. All right, they're going to ask you some questions. They're going to help you fill out some forms. They're going to submit it like a claim, and then it'll either be approved or disapproved. Now, one thing that I found cool about this whole process is it actually goes through prosthetics. You know, the fake arms, the fake legs, that department. Once the claim is approved, then you'll be notified by the VA one way or the other. They're going to notify you. And there's two ways of getting a service dog through the VA. One is through your primary care. That's for like your diabetes, your epilepsy, other mobility problems, balance, stuff like, or if you're blind. Or you can go through your mental health provider for your PTSD. And they now call that mental health mobility. And what you have to do if you're going to get the service dog for your PTSD, you have to meet with a VA mental health provider to begin the application process. Now, you just can't get a one-time appointment with mental health and think they're going to fill out this form for you, because you're going to have to stay in therapy for a while in order to obtain a service dog through the VA. Now, they're going to evaluate you. If you've already been approved for PTSD on a claim, that's definitely in your favor, but they're going to require you to be in so many therapy sessions before they'll approve your claim. And once they determine that you are eligible for this dog, well, first, each case is reviewed and evaluated by a prescribing clinician for the following ability and means, including family or caregiver to care for the dog. You got to prove that you're going to be able to take care of the dog. Because one, you got to pay. If the dog needs grooming, you got to pay for the grooming. If the dog needs dental care without anesthesia, you have to pay for that as well. And you got to pay for food. Okay. So then they're going to set up some goals, and you have to accomplish these goals through the use of the dog. Now, what benefits does the VA provide? So we're going to go into a little bit more detail about this. The VA will provide to a veteran enrolled under the insurance program only the following benefits for one service dog at any given time. All right. A commercially available insurance policy. To the extent commercially practicable, that meets the following minimum requirements. The VA and not the veteran will be billed for any premiums, co-payments, or deductibles associated with the policy. However, the veteran will be responsible for any cost of care that exceeds the maximum amount authorized by the policy for a particular procedure, course of treatment, or policy year. If a dog requires care that may exceed the policy's limit, the insurer will, whenever reasonably possible under the circumstances, provide advance notice to the veteran. The policy will guarantee coverage for all treatment and associated prescription medications, subject to premiums, co-payments, deductibles, or annual caps, determined to be medically necessary, including euthanasia by any veterinarian who meets the requirements of the insurer. The veteran will not be billed for these covered costs, and the insurer will directly reimburse the provider. The policy will not exclude dogs with pre-existing conditions that do not prevent the dog from being a service dog. So if you are paired up with a dog and it already has some medical problems, the insurance policy will still cover that dog. Now, here's another good thing. Hardware or repairs or replacements for hardware that are clinically determined to be required by the dog to perform the task necessary to assist a veteran with his or her impairment To obtain such devices, the veteran must contact the prosthetic and sensory aids services at his or her local VA medical center and request the items needed. So if you need a new harness, new leash, if the dog's going to need a backpack to carry your medicine, stuff like that, all that's paid for through the VA. Now, once you are approved, payments for travel expenses associated with obtaining a dog, travel costs will be provided only to a veteran who has been prescribed a service dog by a VA clinical team and annotated in the veteran's record that the veteran has been pre-approved for the insurance benefit. Payments will be made as if the veteran is an eligible beneficiary. Note, VA will also provide payment for travel expenses related to obtaining a replacement service dog. So if you are approved for a service dog and that service dog happens to pass away and you still require a service dog, they will pay your travel to pick up the replacement service dog. The veteran is responsible for procuring and paying for any items or expenses not authorized by this section. This means that the VA will not pay for items such as license tags, non-prescription drugs, grooming, insurance for personal injury, non-sedated dental care, I already mentioned that, nail trimming, boarding, pet sitting, or dog walking services, over-the-counter medications, or other goods and services not covered by the policy. Now, the dog is not the property of the VA. The VA will never assume responsibility for or take possession of any service dog. So the dog will be yours. Just that the VA is going to help you take care of it. Now, I've been looking into getting a service dog, and I went to my mental health provider, and my therapist boss says, nope, what's printed on va.gov is a misprint. So I went to patient advocate at the VA hospital and says, hey, if it's in black and white, you're going to have to honor this. And he says, yeah. So they're doing a little bit more research, trying to get everybody on track here. So if you run into any problems, you can go to va.gov, type in service dogs, and it's under rehabilitation and prosthetic services. And again, if you look up 38 CFR 17.148, that is the law that covers all of this. Let me put that up here. All right. 38 CFR 17.148. You give them that number and it'll prove to them that, hey, this is law. You gotta honor this. Now, As far as hearing other people having a hard time, I haven't heard that. It just happens to be up here where I'm at. And I think what it is the individuals just wasn't educated on this program. Now, if you do have a problem, you can either contact me and I can help you out, or you go to your patient advocate at the closest VA clinic. Now, hopefully this gives you some information if you were looking into a service dog. If your spouse or family member of a veteran who probably could use a service dog, this is good information too. See if the veteran has access to va.gov, a login. You have to create an account if you don't have one. Don't worry, it's easy. They don't ask all kind of personal questions. They just, once they get the basic information on you, you can check on all your claims, you can check on all the benefits that you got, you can check on all your percentages, you can check on upcoming and past appointments. You can also file for your travel pay on va.gov. va.gov is a lot easier to use than it has been in the past. They've updated it. It's a lot easier. So, but look, if you think you need a service dog, before you go to all these nonprofits, I'm not saying don't go to these nonprofits, but first try to go through the VA so you can get insurance for the dog. If you go through the nonprofit, you're not going to get that insurance. You're going to have to pay for that out of your own pocket. See what I'm saying? Trying to save you some money. If you can get approved through the VA, it's going to take a lot of expenses that you normally would have away. So why not? Why not check with the VA first to see if you qualify for a service dog treatment? A lot of these nonprofits can probably be a little bit stricter than the VA is. So, that's pretty much tonight's show, folks. Let me go ahead and put this picture of this cute dog back up. If I can find it here real quick. Yeah, there it is. All right. Look. What's it going to hurt to try to get one through the VA first? It's not going to cost you anything. And if you get approved, it's going to save you a lot of money. And I'm pretty sure when you take the dog to the vet for the first time, the vet's going to say, hey, you should put your dog on a special diet, food, special dietary supplement or something. That's covered with the insurance policy. If the food is by prescription, then it's covered. Any supplements that the doctor prescribes, that the veterinarian prescribes, it's covered by the VA. Now, like I said, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Veterans Insurance Network and they can help you. Or get with your local VA and say, hey, talk to your primary care or your mental health provider and say, hey, I think I need a service dog. And if they agree, ask them if they can fill out the required paperwork and file it for you. I think we're going to, I need to get better at presenting some of these. I admit that. But we're going to continue looking for all these obscure little benefits that we're eligible for, and we're going to present them to you. So this is about service dogs. I hope this helps at least one person out there, at least one person. And if you are that person, please contact us to let us know that this helped you out, at least got you on the path of obtaining a service dog. All right. Now, next week, we're going to have a guest on. It's going to be an organization called Neopat. It's that's short for Northeast Ohio Patriots. We're going to talk to them about what they do to help veterans. I think it's like once a year they remodel a veteran's home or something like that. We'll find more about that next week. Then the week after that, we are going to have from Ohio, Stark County, Ohio. We're going to have the director of the Veteran Services Commission come on and discuss what they do down there in Stark County. And then the week after that, I think that's January 31st. Yes, it is. My good friend David Root from the VFW, who handles all their Ohio legislation, is going to come and talk to us about pending legislation here in the state of Ohio. Now I'm going to get in contact with the VFW and see if I can get a list and contact info for all 50 states, so we can find out what each state is doing for veterans. And then when we get wind of new veterans legislation, federal legislation, of course, we'll definitely inform you about that as well. So, all right, folks, that's tonight's show. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all those who do reach out to us. Let us know that the information you're getting is worthwhile, and we'll see you next week.